Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tracy, also known as Mercy Tiara, and today I'm going to share with you my scrapbooking pocket process. My pocket scrapbooking process. Yeah, that's what we call it. Some people call it Project Life, some people call it pocket scrapping. I call it lots and lots of fun. My process starts with placing photos and ephemera. I have a few pieces of ephemera here, and as you can see, I have very few photos, so I'm actually pulling in more ephemera than usual here. And the reason I have so few photos is that I've already captured what June had so many photos that I made my June spread be basically early June. And my thought here was that this one would be late June. But when I really thought about it, that first spread for June is actually most of June, and there's actually very little left to document of June. And so here I am kind of spreading them out and wondering, how am I going to fill all of these spaces? And I'm also kind of feeling like I would like this process to go by kind of fast because I'm excited and eager to start working on my outdoorsy kit, which is the August kit from Mercy Tiara Kits. And I have lots and lots of 12 by 12 ideas, but I also really want to finish off the month of June. So I'm here working with the Summer Vibes kit, which is the July kit, and I'm trying to use the leftovers. I do have the August stamp set here, and that's what I'm going to make a beautiful patterned card out of. And this was so much fun, and I tell you, I'm gonna do this again. One of the things that I really wanted for this stamp when I designed it with my sister-in-law, Jen, we both, I had the idea and she did the artwork. I really wanted hand-drawn hexagons that I could mix and match to make a hexagon background and have these sorts of patterns coming out from behind layers in a 12 by 12 page or cutting them out and using them as embellishments. And I wanted this to be a buildable stamp set where you could stamp those little images that come in the stamp set. You can stamp those, they fit inside of the hexagons. And in this case, I'm not going to put anything inside of these hexagons. I'm just using them as a pattern. But as you can see, I'm going back and forth. I'm using two different hexagons. One is a solid and one is an outline, a double outline. And I'm also using two different inks. They're Stampin' Up! Inks. And they're called Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon. They're both new colors. Or new to me colors anyways. They might be old colors that have come back, but they're part of their new color scheme. So I just alternated those, not exact. I didn't want it to look like it's in any pattern. I just made a random pattern. And I really love how this turned out. And so I want lots of it to show. So I have this little piece of ephemera. It's the order form and little greeting from the stamp company that I ordered our logo stamp from. So I thought that that was a really great way to include that ephemera and also have some fun stamping going on. This is a photo that I took of Liv's yearbook. It's a photo of a photo, and I love that kind of thing. And I think that she had a bit of a funny / sarcastic / bordering snarky kind of yearbook quote, so I wanted to include that. I'll talk about it when I get to it. And I'm just here spreading these out and trying to figure out how I'm going to lay out all of these things from the month of June. And what I ended up doing was actually printing up a bunch more photos, and I'm going to make this be June / July. The rest of June and all of July is basically what this is going to be. It was just feeling too sparse and too much pressure on me to fill those cards. There was just not quite enough for a half of a page. I mean, there's a bit too much for half of a page, but not quite enough for a full page. So now that I have more photos that I printed up, it's going to be a little bit easier for me to do this. So for this card, this is a 3x4 card that I made out of pattern paper that came in the Summer Vibes kit. And you saw me chunk up that kit in my last video. So it's just pattern paper that I've cut down to 3x4 and 4x6. I'm just using the logo from her water bottle from prom and putting that photo right in place there. Her grad quote was, "This was nothing like High School Musical." And what makes that funny is that she really did not like high school. So that is actually probably how she really feels, but also obviously sarcastic as well. It would have been nice if it was like High School Musical, but sadly for many high school students, it is not. So we've got a photo of my friend Stephanie with her new grandbaby, and a photo of a screenshot of the emergency warning for the floods. We're kind of just getting used to emergency warnings. They're just like old hat, whatever. What now is kind of our response to those. And so here, this is a lot better, right? Like this is a lot more easy to work with. Like we've got some stories to tell and not so much pressure to fill up some pages here. I also already have pre-scrapped an insert that should be actually the video right before this would be the inserts, and the video before that is the page that came before that. Just showing a little glimpse of my workspace as I'm working. I was feeling a little bit closed in, like there was just too many supplies on my desk and closing in on me. So I just took a moment to just tidy up a little bit, move my supplies around. I wanted to bring forward some of the embellishments. I found that the embellishments had made their way to the bottom of the pile, and all of the page protectors and pattern papers and stuff were on the top. So I'm just organizing myself a little bit. It also helps to familiarize myself with what things I still have left in this kit. As you can see, there are a lot of leftovers. These kits are really jam-packed with items. So I have a lot to work with, which is nice, right? I'm just pointing out that this is a photo. I got it off the internet, but it actually is a photo of my work office parking lot, which was completely flooded. There are like 7 or 8 steps that lead to my work, and they were all flooded. And also the inside of the lobby was flooded. The elevator no longer works, and there's a lot of, like 4 people died in this flood. It was pretty major for our area, although our own home luckily did not flood. Our yard flooded quite a lot. So I have quite a few stories to tell here, and I'm just kind of trying to figure out. I have a few options. That picture of Annabelle is printed in big size and in little size, so I can decide as I go. This is a piece of ephemera from the paper bag that the stamp came in that I ordered for our company. And I'm just kind of summarizing because I think I stopped and started here, and I'm just summarizing for my patrons who get to see real-time versions of all of my videos over on Patreon. And so as you can see, I really like the balance here. We have some pops of color with the Canada flag and with the background of Sophie and I at Popeyes. And there are a few areas here where I have 2 photos to go into one pocket. So what I'll do for that is a tent flip on this side, which is just a DIY flip that I make. And any flips that happen on the other side, on the left-hand side of the spread, they use photo flips. I use photo flips from Simple Stories for that, but there are none on this page, so I won't be using those at all. So I'm going to start with this little card, or this little pocket that has the Mercy Tiara Kit Club stamp logo. I'm just going to layer a little bit of washi tape. That's from the Feeling Groovy kit from May. And I'm just going to stick that on there. It just anchors the little thank you sticker, and that thank you sticker came from her packaging. She just had it on the outside. And so that shows off the stamp itself, as well as it's a bit of ephemera because it's the bag that the stamp actually came in. Then I have a pocket over here that will hold the photo of Sophie's school group. And I'm just looking for a piece of patterned paper to use for that. And I thought that if I put both that photo of the equity team and also the photo of Stephanie, first of all, the pink really picks up on Stephanie's shirt. And it's nice to balance off having those pops of pink on either side of the spread like that. So I'll put one there. I'll cut another one here. I'm just cutting those to just slightly less than 3 by 4 inches. And the flip side of that was also really nice. So I'm going to use that on that photo up in the top there. We'll get to that when we get to it. So I'm going to start by making my title card, and I want it to be kind of similar to the one before it. So the one that said June, or it said early June. And so this one is going to say July and late June. I could have said late June and July, but I didn't really even think about that until I'd already stamped July. I went into my stash looking specifically for a label that I can use the same stamp set. This is the Highline stamp set of months from Paper Person. And I'm going to use this label sticker here. It's from the same set that I got the other label from for the other spread. So it's from October Afternoon. It's fairly old, but I really like it. Love using those old October Afternoon stamps. This is the first time I used this stamp, so I just conditioned it quickly with my fingers. Just the oil from your fingers is enough to just rub off that manufacturer's kind of glossy coating that's on some stamps. Stamp July, it's not entirely perfect. There are some spots that show through, but that's okay. It gives it a nice handcrafted look. So there we have it. And I just want to also, I thought about maybe placing it a little bit lower, but it's stuck on there, so I'm not going to move it. I'll leave it high. And then what I was going to do is put it lower and then put late June and then July. But because I couldn't move it lower, I'm just going to leave it where it is. And I'm going to put and late June under July, even though they don't go chronologically. That's okay. I'm using letter stickers, or yellow letter stickers from this. These are the Pink Fresh Studio puffy alpha stickers that came in the Summer Vibes add-on. And I love, love, love these, using them so much in these spreads. And I'm trying to use all yellow, but I did run out of E's. So the E in June, or the E in late, is pink instead of yellow. And I like that. It's kind of like a little bit of an unexpected design element. And then for the last E, I'm just going to piece together a piece of another letter. I'm taking an F, and then I'm adding a little other straight line at the bottom of it to make it into an E. And that's an easy switch for you if you're running out of E's. It's always easy to use an F in its place. Now that they're all on the card, I'm just trying to make them a little bit more centered than they were before, and I'm using my T ruler to just keep them straight as well. This T ruler is just a basic product. You can get it on Amazon. I think mine is from Amazon. I scrapbooked a long time without having a T ruler, and so it's not an essential tool, but it is really handy to have for this sort of thing. I'm going to do a little bit of outlining. I'm outlining on the label, so I'm kind of like, this is drawing the outline on it, and then I'm also going to outline around the outside edge of it as well. And I like that, how that looks. It's a little plain. Maybe we can find something to stick on there. How about these scissors? It's kind of random, but that's okay. We're always crafting, so scissors are always relevant. Now, this is a photo of Annabelle holding up the Canadian flag that she brought home with her. She had all of her friends sign it and her hockey team and whatnot. So that was, you know, she's looking pretty sad there as she holds it up, because this was one of her last moments with her friends. And, you know, sad to leave them and go home to Germany. So we're going to do, I guess I already did that. I think, yeah, I just added the shark to it. Now I'm moving on to this little 2x3 inch photo of Sophie's equity team. She's on the executive for this team. And it's a position that is pretty important to her. So I wanted to make sure that I documented it. I added that rainbow edging from the Chamel paper that I already used in the other page. It's also from the Summer Vibes kit, and that's really relevant because the equity team obviously does some involvement with the LGBTQ community. I'm writing here, after the hate crime at the school this winter, which will make sense because that was already documented in a page earlier in my project life. So after the hate crime at school this winter, Sophie struggled to make sense of the world. One thing she did to heal is apply to the equity executive team, which makes decisions about activities and policies that help everyone feel safe at school. And so I wanted to obviously document that because I like my project lives to revisit things. I like my project life pages to kind of come back again to ideas and concepts or events, things that happen repeatedly. I like that repetition. I don't find that is redundant or gets boring over time. I actually really like that. It's like part of the process for me. Now I want to do some writing on this plate, but I'm actually not going to use handwriting. I'm going to use stickers to write on this plate. And so I'm going to use one of these thicker alignment tools, which I have the circles set. I think they came in a few different sets. I don't know if you can still get these, but I nabbed myself a set. I have the straight one, which is the one I use the most, but then I have all these curves, and none of them are the exact right curve. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to compensate for that. So if I made my letters go right along this curve, they're not going to follow the line of the plate. They'll almost follow the line of the plate, but that curve is just a little bit too wide. So as I place them, I figured out where the center is by writing it down and then counting to find the middle. So that E is the center. And I'm going to, so I place the E so that it's just on the very, very, very edge of that thicker alignment tool. I hope I zoom in. I think I meant to zoom in. And then as I go out, each sticker is going down a little bit further on that ruler or alignment tool, if that makes sense. So by the time I get to the Y here, only the very top of the Y is hanging off the edge. And I'm following, the way that I'm deciding how far down to put it is I'm following the line of the plate against the counter, that kind of edge where you can see where the white meets the black. And the stickers alignment tool has a center line, so I just put the E where that center line was. And hopefully this freeze frame can help you see how the letters are, as you go along, they're more and more on the ruler and less hanging off, and then the opposite on the other side. So that gives me an aligned set of letter stickers that will, in theory, follow the line of the plate. And now I can decide, do I want to put it in the center of the plate, or do I want to put it a little bit on the lower part of the plate? And I went with the lower part. I just liked that look a little bit more. And then once you stick the tops of those letter stickers, then you just slide the ruler out and it unsticks from the ruler, and then you stick them down to the page. The Y moved around a little bit because the Y was almost entirely on the ruler. So that one, it made sense that that one would be the one that wouldn't stick all that well. Next, I have this photo of a Mercy Tiara kit being dropped off at the UPS drop-off place, which happens to be in our pizza shop, one of our local pizza shops. And yeah, it's sort of a weird place for a UPS to be. And Scott thinks it's hilarious that he brings these pizza-shaped boxes into the pizza joint, which usually obviously will be sending out pizza boxes to its customers. And here we are bringing in pizza boxes, but they're very different. They have very different supplies inside. And he takes his photos with his little wooden fox mascot that he brings around with him as he works, so that he can share some of his adventures on Instagram. Now I have a lot of journaling to go on this photo, and it's very good that it has all of this white space on it. So I'm using my journaling template here, and these are coming to my shop. There's been a bit of a delay with the ordering process for these, but I will have these available. They're hard to find. People have told me that they've gone looking for them and can't find them. So I'm making one so that you can order it from our shop. So here's what my journaling says. After I put it down there, I am writing with a Sharpie pen, by the way, which writes perfectly on photos. It's really great for that. It says, "It was a heartbreaking day when we brought Annabelle to the airport to go home. But when we got there, the airport was in chaos due to canceled flights because of wildfires in Ontario. Annabelle's flight was affected, but the NSISP gave us a conference room in the Alt Hotel where we could make our calls and figure out a plan. Luckily, she got a direct flight to Germany. We almost got to keep her." And so, as you can see, I'm just writing my journaling there. Like I said, the Sharpie pen, it's not a Sharpie marker, although Sharpie marker would probably work fine on photos too because it is a slick surface. But the Sharpie pen is designed for not usually slick surfaces. It just happens to also work on a photo, which happens to also be slick, but it's for writing on paper. And so if you're buying markers, I mean, the Sharpie pen is a really great journaling pen, but just make sure that you don't accidentally get the Sharpie marker because that's a totally different thing and it will feather on paper. I have this fun sticker. It says, "I can't, I'm crafting today." And I thought that would be fun to put, like it's going into my like I'm saying that in this photo of Scott and I in the warehouse. And I guess I'm just shifting these letters around. They must have been bothering me for some reason. Oh, I remember. I forgot the I in anniversary. You might have noticed that. I didn't notice it the second time either. But yes, so I had to move some of the letters over to make room for an I. Next, I want to make a tent insert, a tent flip up. So I grabbed a 6x8-inch piece of paper. This is cardstock from a Kelly Perky documenter kit. And I make a tent out of it by scoring it with my trimmer that has a scoring blade. And then I'm attaching the photo to the outside and then the other photo to the inside. I'm going to layer this little emergency warning that I trimmed down to size as like a little insert to the photo, like an inset area. And then I'm going to do some journaling on this on this up on the top part of this flap. But I want to put an arrow that points to the building of my office where I work, just because it's so off over to the side that I don't want it to kind of get missed that this is actually a relevant photo. So I wanted an arrow and I couldn't find my arrow punch. I know I have one, but I couldn't find it. So I was in a bit of a hurry and just decided to grab this photo corner punch. And I thought I could use these photo corners as a bunch of chevrons that are like pointing to something. And so I figured if I put enough of them, it'll be obvious that it looks like it's supposed to be an arrow pointing to something and not just random chevrons on something. So I'm lining them up and I'm using my, what is this called again? It's Art Glitter Dries Clear Adhesive. It's my new favorite glue. It might even be unseating Tombow Mono Multi. I don't know for sure. Only time will tell, but I do like it a lot. It's very liquidy, easy to handle. I use a metal tip with it and it's great. So I'm outlining these yellow pieces that I cut with that punch out of a scrap from the kit. And I'm thinking I might even want more. We'll put another one there. And now this one is going across the fold, so I'm actually going to have to trim that off like that. But I thought, actually, I think I'll trim it off and then put it back on the page. So I'll outline this so it matches the other. And then I've decided to just continue this little series of chevrons so that it almost goes like from the journaling into the photo. So I lost the little tip of that, so I just grabbed and I punched another one, and one of those little tips is really tiny, so I almost lost it there. And there it is. I'll just glue down these extra pieces that are not actually on the photo, trim that down, and I'm just going to put that little smidgen on the photo, and the rest of this will go, wait a second, I grabbed the wrong one. The rest of it will go on the journaling part. Once I add the outlining, that'll finish that off quite nicely. And there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Now, I can't remember what the problem was with that tip, but it didn't work for some reason. I don't know what it was. So I just punched another one and grabbed the tip of that, and I will glue that in place. Take the pin out of your bottle there, Tracy. There we go. And then we will just do that over again. Easy peasy. So there it is. I'll add the outlining to that, and boom, we're done with our arrow, and it's pointing very nicely at my building, my office building. That restaurant is still closed, by the way, the restaurant that's in the parking lot there. It's been a month, and they're still cleaning up. So this says, I'm using my my Faber-Castell Pitt pen with a brush point, which I regretted. So it's not great for doing this kind of journaling. My journaling is a little bit messy. It says, we had unprecedented floods that tragically killed 4 people and flooded many homes and businesses. Our home was okay, but our driveway washed away and Sunnyside Place flooded. The whole parking lot was covered in 5 feet of water and our lobby was destroyed. We are grateful more damage wasn't done. So I am just doing my best to write that out with that pen that really isn't designed for writing that way. And then I'm going to underline it, and I'm using a different thickness of pen for my underlining. I'll find one in a second. That one is yeah, there you go. That's the right one. So this is a 1-point pen, tipped pen. It's a Sakura Pigma pen. I will just reinforce the fold there because it was kind of popping open a little bit too much. So I used a bone folder for that. Now I'm just going to grab a die cut from this set. These are the die cuts that came in the Summer Vibes kit. And I just think that it's fun. It's a fun little embellishment, and it had a big chunk to journal on. So I thought that it would make a fun little addition to this card. We really love these Volkswagen bus style vehicles, so I thought it was fun. It says, we've reused Liv's happy birthday sign for our anniversary and Father's Day. Bougie. Because we were joking about how it's our fancy version of a sign, is this dollar store blow up, and then we put printer paper over top of the birthday to say Father's Day and anniversary instead. And it doesn't even cover the balloons, so it's just kind of like a funny little sarcastic sign. Now, this is a selfie, or an ussie, that Sophie and I took when we went to Popeyes. Popeyes just came to Halifax not too long ago, and this is our first time going there. It's been there for maybe like a year, and this is our first time going there. Obviously, we hear a lot about it in pop culture, so we were excited to try it out. It's very good. The verdict is not in about whether it is better than Mary Brown's or not, but it's better than KFC, so it's good to have options. And my journaling here just says we finally tried out Popeyes. I just used a label for my stash. I'm journaling around the heart here to say our new logo stamp, and that's it. And this is a picture of Liv at Sophie's work. So Sophie works at a used bookstore that also fosters kittens and rescue cats and stuff. And they've had this adorable batch of kittens there for the last couple of weeks. And the girls are obsessed. They go to the bookstore, buy a couple of books, and spend an hour playing with the cats. So this is Liv playing with one of the kittens, whose name is Bianca Del Rio. And this is the kitten that really stole my kid's heart and Scott's heart. And I had been staying away trying for it to not steal my heart until very recently. I was like, I don't need to meet her. But I met her recently. And yeah, I get it. I know why they are in love with her. She's adorable. Here I'm just outlining and writing Stephanie's grandbaby. And now I have a filler card that I'm going to put. It's not really a filler card, but it's a spot for a journaling item that will document what the story is about these water bottles. So I'm grabbing another piece of this paper from the kit, cutting it down to 3x4, and I'm actually going to make this sticker span the two of them and then cut it apart. This is one way to make it obvious when two cards go together but are in two different pockets. So continuing a design from one to the other does a pretty good job, or maybe having the same background paper on both of them. That would be another way to make it obvious. And then the other way is, of course, to just use arrows that point to one another, right? So this is a sticker from Pink Fresh Studio. It came in the kit, and I'm just writing, Sophie made these water bottle vinyl stickers for all 3 water bottles for their Disney trip. And I made sure I said all 3 because there's a photo of the 2 of them, but she surprised Jen with it, so she hadn't yet actually applied the vinyl to Jen's water bottle yet because she hadn't gotten Jen's water bottle. We had to kind of like steal it from her in a sneaky way that was caused a lot of kind of confusion among everybody. But anyhow, we got it on there. It was sort of a surprise. She kind of knew something was up. She's like, why is everybody worried about my water bottle? Here I'm making another one of those tents. This time my card is 6 by 8, scored at the halfway point. And then I just took another piece of that same cardstock that I've been using in other places on this page and cut it down to 3 by 4 and just placed it on the back side. I cut it a bit bigger so that I could trim it down like this to get it exact and put it on the back side of that flip. These photos have the same filter on them because they're what I'm calling the sad filter. The photo in the bottom corner of Annabelle with the whiteboard also has the same filter. It's the vibrant warm filter on iPhoto or whatever it's called, Apple Photos or whatever. I'm using my Nope stamp set to stamp Nope, Nope, Nope down the center of the bottom part of this where the carpet is, just to fill it in and to give that sentiment of, this wasn't something that we were happy about doing, dropping off our beloved international student at the airport. And that kind of yellowy filter, I used it for all of the photos about Annabelle going home. Now I did want to do some journaling here, but I didn't want to journal on the textured side, and I accidentally put it so that the textured side of that cardstock was out. So I just grabbed a scrap with these lines on it, and it's going to need more than just that, but these lines are a good starting point for putting some journaling. And then I still had this washi tape out, which I used somewhere else. I used it on the card right beside it, actually, with the Mercy Tiara stamp. And I'm going to run this washi tape across the top and the bottom just to make this lined piece of paper look a little bit more like it belongs. And those rainbows are totally fun. Now I'm just using my white gel pen here just to fill in the gap. There's that brightly colored pattern paper and just a little smidgen of it was showing through. And I'm not entirely covering it so that you can't see it, but I'm just making it be less of a distraction by covering over it with the white gel pen. My journaling here says, this one was hard to let go. All 4 of us bawled the whole way home. She really made a mark on us. Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a weird sight. the 4 of us driving down the highway with tears going down our faces. So I think that this is it. I'm just sticking down that sticker and then that's it. So I do have a little bit of extra footage here that just shows this spread with its insert. The insert was scrapped in the video right before this one, and here it is right here. It's the grad one. And I'm just showing you how these cards look when they're in their pockets with the flippity flaps in place. This is the page before, and it also has an insert, and then I haven't done May yet. And so I just included this footage. This was in the other video too, so if you already saw it, you've probably already seen this. But I like to show how it comes together because sometimes I get questions from people about, like, how does this all work? Maybe people who've never tried Project Life or haven't seen the pages together. So here it is. And thank you so much to my patrons who support this channel. It wouldn't be what it is without them, so thank them very much and thank you. And also, here are some places that you can find me on the web in various platforms and places. Please like, subscribe, and comment on my video if you like it or have anything to say, because it really does help my channel to do well with the algorithm when there's interaction and that sort of thing. So I'd love to hear from you. And it really does help my channel out. So thanks so much for watching and supporting me all this time. Have a really great scrappy week.